One 4x8 raised bed can beat 6 tomato plants, if you stop planting like an optimist. I'm Grant, Fiona's here, and this is Rude Insect.
And by optimist, Grant means the person who puts a zucchini in a tiny bed and then acts shocked when it annexes the path, the basil, and possibly the neighbor's driveway.
I feel seen. Today we're talking about the best veg to grow in raised beds in 2026, especially if you've got 1, 2, maybe 3 beds and you want food, not a second unpaid job.
Raised beds are brilliant, but they're not enchanted furniture. They warm up faster in spring, drain better after heavy rain, and let you build decent soil even if your native soil is clay, gravel, or whatever the builder left behind.
Which brings us to a segment I'm calling Grant's Garden Mistake. I once filled a bed with what was sold to me as screened topsoil, which sounded fancy and responsible. I planted carrots, imagined glossy orange perfection, and pulled up these forked, hairy, bitter little goblins. They looked like they'd been emotionally neglected.
They had been. Carrots want loose, stone-free soil with compost, not mystery dirt from a contractor's pile. Raised beds forgive a lot, but if the fill is poor, roots will tell on you immediately.
So if someone is starting fresh, what should go in first?
Lettuce and salad greens. They give you a fast win. In a raised bed with a fluffy, compost-rich top layer, baby lettuce can be cut in just a few weeks. And that matters because garden morale is real.
I love that. Garden morale. Like, if I see a salad happening early, I believe I'm a competent adult again.
Temporarily. For lettuce, don't waste the whole bed on long rows. A 2x2 foot patch is plenty for sandwiches and weeknight salads. Loose leaf, romaine, and butterhead are worth the space. Iceberg is not, unless you enjoy waiting a long time for disappointment.
What spacing are we talking?
Baby leaf can be scattered thinly and cut young. Head lettuce wants about 8 to 10 inches. Spinach, 4 to 6 inches. Arugula can be sown thicker, but harvest it young before it turns mean and peppery.
And summer lettuce? Because every June, I convince myself I can outsmart heat.
You cannot. Spring lettuce is easy. Summer lettuce is a trap in many gardens. Shade cloth helps a bit, but once it bolts, it tastes bitter. Plant it early, then again in late August. That's the calmer plan.
Okay, beyond greens, my dream bed has tomatoes. Obviously. Maybe 6.
No. 1 cherry tomato. 1. Put it on a strong cage or stake and let it go vertical. 6 tomato plants in 1 raised bed sounds abundant until they ripen all at once, catch blight, and collapse in a storm like theater students.
Harsh, but accurate. So the if I only had 1 bed version is 1 cherry tomato, 1 cucumber on a trellis, some bush beans, carrots, lettuce or spinach early, basil after the greens bolt, and kale or chard in a corner.
Plus radishes wherever you've got bare soil. They're quick, they don't ask for much, and they make empty spaces feel productive.
Bush beans are underrated too. They don't need elaborate support, they pay back fast once the soil is warm, and they're less dramatic than pole beans.
Exactly. And carrots are one of the reasons raised beds exist. Give them deep, loose soil, avoid fresh, chunky compost, and keep moisture steady while they germinate. If the top half-inch dries out, they sulk before they even appear.
What about peppers?
Maybe. In warm summers, yes. In cooler spots, they can sit there looking decorative and judgmental. Raised beds help because the soil warms earlier, but peppers still want heat.
Herbs around the edges?
Good use of space. Basil after spring lettuce is a classic swap. Parsley, chives, cilantro in cooler windows. Thyme near the edge if the bed drains well. Just don't let mint anywhere near it unless it's in a pot.
Feeding question. Do we need to pour fertilizer on everything like we're apologizing?
No. For quick greens, mix in something balanced before planting. The article mentions a Spoma Organic garden tone herb and vegetable food, and that's the kind of slow, steady feed that makes sense. Too much nitrogen can give you lush lettuce that aphids treat like a buffet.
So the magic formula is not magic. Good compost, vertical crops, staggered seasons, and no squash unless you have room for a hostile takeover.
That is the formula.
Near the end here, we need Fiona's 30-second verdict.
Yes, raised beds are worth it for lettuce, bush beans, cherry tomatoes, carrots, kale, chard, cucumbers on a trellis, radishes, turnips, warm season peppers, and edge herbs. Maybe for sprawling squash, but only if you give it space outside the bed. No, raised beds will not rescue bad fill soil, overcrowded tomatoes, or lettuce planted straight into July heat. The concrete reason is simple. Raised beds reward crops that like loose soil, steady moisture, and smart spacing.
That's the kind of verdict that saves people a whole season of muttering at carrots. If this helped, hit subscribe. We drop 3 new episodes every week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you don't have to hunt for the next one.
Thank you for listening to this edition of RudeInsect.com, Conversations with Grant and Fiona.